talk about how to get your green card even when you entered without a visa. I'm your host, Ify, USA immigration lawyer. Come on in. I see a lot of you already on TikTok. Thank you for being here. This is a very important topic. If you're looking to get your green card, you're currently in the USA, you're married to a US citizen, but one little thing is in your way, which is that entry without a visa. You have unlawful presence in the USA, you're facing potential bans, and you're not able to get your green card or adjust, or you're not sure what to do. This live is for you. I'm going to tell you three major things you need to focus on in this process so you can get your green card through marriage, through family, even though you entered without a visa. All right. Welcome in. I see many of you already on Instagram as well. Make sure you're sharing with your friends, sharing your stories, sharing the DMs, because this particular topic affects those of you, even if you're on DACA. Right now, if you're a DACA recipient, you most likely entered without a visa. And if you want to adjust your status, you need to stick around for this one, because the first thing I'm going to tell you is your eligibility for this. Are you eligible to actually get your green card if you entered without a visa? Meaning you entered illegally through the border somehow, right? Maybe you're seeking asylum in the USA, but all we know is you didn't apply for a student visa or a tourist visa, and you're now in the USA, you've lived here for 10 plus years, you've built a whole family, but you're still not a permanent resident. How do you know if you're eligible? So, first things first, if we're talking marriage-based green card, you have to be married to a US citizen or permanent resident. But in this particular topic today, I'm going to focus on people who are married to US citizens. This is very important for the next thing we're going to discuss, because in order for you to get your green card when you enter without a visa, you first of all have to show that you are related to a qualified US citizen relative. You have to prove that relationship first, because that will determine if you can still get this green card. Every situation is not the same. If your spouse is a permanent resident, you might have some issues with actually getting your green card. So I invite all of you today to call me. Let's discuss how you can get your green card even though you entered without a visa. My number is on the screen for those of you watching me on Facebook and YouTube, and in the comments it's pinned. And just to remind you all, today is actually the last day of April, where we are offering 50% off consultations. Today's the last day of that promotion, but if you can call me right now while we're on this live, I can think about extending that through the week. So let's take advantage of that, guys. It is our end of the month promotions that we offer to all of you, our supporters, those of you who are always here watching us live, sharing our content, commenting, and just engaging. This is our way to give back and make sure that you have access to the service that you need. So take advantage, 50% off for a consultation with me. Okay? All right. But back to the topic, how to get a green card for those of you who entered without a visa. And like I said, if you're a DACA recipient, this also applies to you. Because if you do not have the relative, if you don't have the qualified relative that is required to be eligible for this, it's going to be actually very difficult for you to adjust your status. All right. So you might need to go back to your home country, which means more bans, and you might not be able to re-enter for the next 20 years. So definitely don't do that. Definitely don't travel outside the USA without talking to an attorney. But if you're already in a relationship, you're already married to a US citizen, and you're able to prove that that marriage is real and not just because you need to stay in the USA or get a green card, you can most likely adjust, especially for DACA recipients who have taken advantage of the travel permit that was available. I'm not sure the status of that right now, but there's a time where a DACA recipient who entered without a visa could qualify for a travel permit, travel outside the USA to get that visa stamp, which is required for adjustment of status. That's one of the ways you could actually become eligible to adjust. Otherwise, If you're not a DACA recipient, you're not able to get a travel permit, you will have to go back to your home country to do a consular process. But before you do, let's go to the second point, the required documents you're going to need in order to be allowed to come back. Because, like I said, those of you who have overstayed, and accrued unlawful presence, or entered without a visa, you've accrued unlawful presence from day one. So once you leave, you're immediately banned from coming in, right? So to avoid that, you need to submit the following required documents and make sure you're contacting an attorney to help you with this, because this is not an easy application. This is one of the most complicated processes in the US CIS, because this is beyond eligibility, right? You're already eligible by being married to a US citizen. It's a bona fide marriage, yes. But now you have this inadmissibility. So how can we get around this? And this is quite different from other types of inadmissibilities, like the ones we can find with misrepresentation or criminal type of misrepresentations. But in this case, unlawful presence, it is much more complicated because there's no cure in a sense. The only reason why they're going to consider any type of pleas or waivers is because of your eligibility. You're qualified because you're married to this U.S. citizen, or you have a U.S. citizen child, or something that is really extreme, that's going to cause extreme hardship to that U.S. citizen relative. All right. Parents usually don't count. I believe it's mostly spouse and children. So keep that in mind. Now, the required documents for this, what are you going to need to show to the USCIS for your I-601A in this instance? For those of you who enter without a visa, what are you going to need to provide to prove that the circumstances are actually extreme, right? Simply being apart from your spouse or missing your spouse is not enough. At least you're going to need to expand on that situation to classify that whole scenario as extreme, all right? Otherwise, you will get deported, denied, right? And you can't get your green card. You have to be apart from your spouse. Now, what's the solution? Is the U.S. citizen supposed to move back to the country? Are you supposed to get a divorce because somebody is inadmissible? Like, what's the solution, right? So we're going to focus on how is our separation going to cause hardship to the U.S. citizen, and what kind of evidence do you need for that? You need to show the financial hardship of the U.S. citizen, maybe how they're going to lose their job, whatever job it is they're doing in the USA, they're not going to be able to find it in this other country, right? You do that through your statements, through bank statements showing your family income, how it's going to be greatly reduced or affected if this one person is deported. Now, if you're going to miss your spouse, it's just not, you won't just state, oh, I'm going to miss my spouse. You have to then show the emotional support that you're going to lose if this person leaves. Maybe you're already seeing a therapist, or you have some other things that you're working with or working through as a person, as a U.S. citizen relative. At that point, you have to show how this separation is going to affect your mental health, and it's going to be much more than just, I'm missing my spouse. It has to be some serious emotional loss, of which it's quite typical, right? You are married. That's the reason why you're partnered up with someone. So you need your partner. Well, how can you prove this? This is where our expertise comes in. All right. I hope this is making sense to you. Give me a thumbs up if you're in this process. Just file a green card through marriage and you're getting some value as to what to expect in terms of eligibility, and then how to actually show that you meet the requirements by showing these documents. Right. So give me a thumbs up in the comments. I'm seeing some questions coming in. I'm going to try to read through them so I can answer you live. And if I give you an answer Let me see. A lot of them is coming, so I'm just going to scroll to the top. And if you hear your question or if this resonates with you, just give me a thumbs up so I can know that you're getting some value from this, and make sure you're sharing this with your friends as well. We come live every Tuesday and Thursday to give you some tips on your green card process and obviously answer your questions live as well. All right, so let's see, which one can I see here? From Rendon, do you do EB2, or you do EB2 NIW? That's the National Interest Waiver Employment Based. Rendon, thank you for watching and for being here. This is from TikTok. We are a family-based immigration law firm. We help mostly with marriage-based green cards or other family members filing for their relatives. So when you talk about employment-based, that's something that is a case-by-case basis. We can definitely take you in for a consultation. So please give us a call. My number, I'm going to pin my number on TikTok, but you can also find it in the link in my bio, though. So you can give us a call. Let's see if in your case you might even qualify, and then we can potentially refer you out or see how we can help. All right. You're welcome, Rendon. All right. For those of you on Instagram, welcome in. I see Ada Christ and John Coleon. Interesting name. Thank you for being here. Please ask your questions as you listen to this live. And I hope that you're getting some value. For those of you who are applying for your green card through marriage, if you enter the USA without inspection, pay close attention. All right. Okay, I see another question from I'm not Kwame. So I'm guessing he's not Kwame. So what's your name? I'm not Kwame says, what's next? Because I'm waiting on my green card. Okay. I just got an email from USCIS. They got back to me on my case in a second. I got the I-131 approval. What's next? Kwame, or you're not Kwame. I'm not really sure the stage you're in right now. You say you got an email that your case has been approved, or your I-131 has been approved. I-131, for those of you who do not know, is the travel permit. That's just the number of the forms. We're always speaking in numbers in immigration, but they all just mean different forms and different things that they're doing. But if your I-131 got approved and your actual green card is still pending, I think what's next could be an interview maybe, or you might just get your approval in the mail. Depends on if you sent in your medical with the application. So let me see. So I don't know if that answers your question. Not Kwame. Let me know what your name is in the comments. You're in Delaware. Okay. Okay, you're in Delaware. I'm not sure why someone is still able to call me during this live. Okay. Right. They put my phone on DND. It usually is. But anyways, Kwame, you're in Delaware. I'm not sure the timeline in Delaware right now, but I believe you're just on the right track for just getting your green card. How long have you been waiting? If your travel permit and your work permit is approved, that's essentially the process right now. That's what you're gonna be going through. So how long have you been waiting? Let me know. Raheem, thank you for watching and thanks for your question. Says, I got an email to attach some evidence. Your transcript, W-2s, a tax schedule. What is the difference? What's the difference between these documents? Or, well, I think they're trying to prove your income essentially. And I think these different documents are still showing it's all about the consistency, especially with pay stubs. Pay stubs, they want to see that it's still recent income. It's not just your total income on your taxes. Tax transcript, W-2 matches the tax transcripts task schedule, I'm not really sure. Just sometimes it might be this or that. If it's and, just send it to them. Send everything. We don't need to know the difference, but we know the purpose of it is to prove that you actually earn enough income for the application that you're supporting. All right. Hope that answers your questions, Raheem. Thanks for being here. Kwame says, or not Kwame. Kwame, I'm still waiting for your name because I don't know why you freeze it like that. I'm not Kwame. I'm not Kwame says next month it will be a year. So the wait time for adjustment of status is usually within a year to a year and a half. Okay, so if you're just waiting, it's about a year. I think you're just in the normal processing time for a marriage-based green card. Very soon they might call you for an interview, or like I said, you just get your green card in the mail. So that's good. All right, Chantel English. Yes, I do help clients file their VAWA self petitions, which is also getting your green card through family, but when things are going left. Sometimes things don't always go as planned. If you're in a loving relationship and it falls apart, that's you might qualify to self petition and still get your green card. So that's one thing that we help with for sure. Thank you for being here, Chantel. Choppa Choppa says, "What if I don't? What if I don't do?" Sometimes all these things is hard to, they're all jumbled up. Anyways, it's been 6 weeks ago and no approval yet. What's the meaning? Choppa Choppa, I don't think I understand your question. Are you saying that you applied 6 weeks ago, which is like what, and you don't have an approval? I mean, there's no meaning. It's just 6 weeks. The wait time is way longer than 6 weeks. So, or is there something else you're saying that I'm not picking up? Because I'm trying to read through the question. But let me know if I'm missing something. But yeah, 6 weeks is definitely too short of a time to even be worrying about approval. But let's see. Okay, so now I think the last thing I was going to talk about was your interview preparation. If you entered without a visa and you go for your, if you're going to have an interview at some point, either in your home country, or if you're a DACA recipient and you're able to get the I-94, you might be doing it here in the US. So the last thing to think about for any one of you applying for your green card through marriage is your interview process, your interview preparation. Well, how are you going to actually answer questions relating to your entry? They're going to want to know, except you entered as a minor or a child that you were not able to decide or make a decision on that. That's where DACA comes in. That's quite different from, just depending on your whole situation, you're going to need to answer questions on that. So, and then you're going to need to know more about your relationship. You're going to need to answer questions on that. How did you meet your spouse? Who proposed? How does this all change? If you're a waiver now, before you travel with my clients, I make sure their waivers are approved before they travel back home, because you don't want to trigger the bans, right? You'll be banned from re-entering the USA. All right, because you've been in the US for 10 plus years unlawfully. That's just immediate ban. Okay. So don't do that. Make sure your I-601A is approved. Make sure you're able to prove that hardship that we mentioned in the beginning. Those are the documents that you're going to need to show real relationship, proof that is going to cause the US citizen relative some hardship, right? And then just proof of the fact that you haven't committed any crimes and you're still eligible. Otherwise, the only thing you have is just this entry without inspection. All right. You can show that, and then at the interview, you're able to answer these questions about the real relationship and every other thing relating to just that entry, the situation surrounding it. If you're seeking asylum, what happened, all that type of stuff, you're in good shape. Right, but make sure you're not going this alone, because like I said in the beginning, I-601As is not something to take for granted. It's not something to take lightly, because if that gets denied, then you're just not able to get a green card. This is your one way out, your get out of jail free card. Okay, And only those people who are eligible, who meet that criteria at first, are able to then apply for this. All right. So Johan is asking if I do adjustment of status. This is on TikTok. I do help clients all over the USA file adjustment of status through marriage, through family. So reach out to me. My number, let me pin that on TikTok, but my number is the link in my bio. And for those of you on Instagram, I'm going to pin it as well in the comments. But you can give me a call or a text to see if we are a match and we can help you with filing your adjustment of status. Distance is not going to be a problem, so don't worry about that. Okay? All right, but now I'm going to just focus on the questions I've been seeing coming in. But I do hope that those of you watching got some value from this. Make sure you follow us, especially on Instagram, since they said TikTok will soon be disappearing, I think. Let me know what you all heard about that, because I haven't really watched the news on that. I just heard that from TikTok, that TikTok in the US will no longer be here soon. So I don't know what that's going to be like, but follow me on other platforms anyway. Let's keep on talking about these tips. If you're on Facebook, you can join my Facebook group where we also go live, especially on Fridays, to answer questions one-on-one. You get to have 45 minutes plus with me. I just stay on live basically just to provide that guidance and help immigrants feel supported. Because you all know I'm an immigrant myself, so definitely can understand where y'all are coming from with all the stressors and everything that you go through in this. So I'm going to pin this number here, pin, so you can see that on TikTok. And I'm going to keep on looking through the comments for some more questions. I see. I'm going to keep looking for more questions and keep on going. So what I'm hearing is that it's going to take a while before the ban even takes effect. So for now, we're still here on TikTok. We'll just see what happens. All right. Random Gems, thanks for joining and thanks for asking your questions. Says, I entered on a tourist visa that expired. Your dad, resident, so it was a permanent resident, applied for I-130 when you were 18, then it was approved when you were 22. What can I do? Okay, how old are you now, Random Gems? Because I'm not sure how long it's been since you got that approval. If you're still, I mean, at this point, if your dad's a permanent resident, is going to be you're 27, so that's 5 years. So it seems like you're not, maybe your priority date is still not reached for you to actually adjust your status. So it seems like you're just in the US unlawfully at this point. You don't really have any status. Am I right? So with that, I think you're just going to be waiting just to see. You might need to do this waiver that I'm talking about, but it's going to be quite different. Did you enter? What kind of visa did you have when you entered? Because you enter with a visa, you'll still potentially need to do some sort of I-601 waiver for something because you've been in tourist visa. You said that. That's right. Okay, well, thanks for your question, Random Gems. I see one from Instagram, so I'm going to answer it because I think that's the first one on Instagram today, except I missed any others. But thank you all for being here on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. So this is from Jay Hunter. Says, I'm a social worker and I work with immigrants to complete immigration evaluations. Okay, thank you, Jay Hunter, for that comment. We need these evaluations for asylum cases or VAWA cases or basically any humanitarian cases. So definitely something to know. Thank you very much for being here. And for those of you who come to us for these types of cases, we always give you all referrals. So Jay Hunter, you can send me a DM. What states are you in and what state do you work in? And then we can always send out those referrals to you. All right, thanks. Michaela Burnett says, when you're married to a green card holder, how long does it take to get through? Michaela, thanks for your question. This is about getting your green card through marriage, but fortunately, in 2024, if your spouse is a permanent resident, you're going to have to wait a longer time because there are some delays or backlogs in the F2A category. But if your spouse is a US citizen, it could take a year to a year and a half for you to be done with the whole process. All right. So, but Kayla, for it to get through for you, it just really depends on what the visa bulletin is saying right now. That's what you're gonna consider. All right. Let's see another question here from Choppa Choppa. Choppa Choppa, I did try to answer your question earlier, but I'm not sure if I understood what the question is because it looks like you applied 6 weeks ago. And I was like, if it hasn't been approved, there's no meaning. Or do you mean no receipt notice when you say no response? Because I think at first you said approved. But if it's not a receipt notice after 6 weeks, that's also normal because it could take up to 3 months sometimes. I know I've personally waited for 3 months to get a receipt notice from a client, and that was tough because it was like there's no case number, there's nothing you can really do about the case because there's no case number. Your receipt notice is going to tell you case number. So chapa chapa, if it's a receipt notice you're talking about, you can definitely, you're still in the normal waiting time. Just keep on waiting. It's going to come. All right. So you did your interview 6 weeks ago. Okay, it seems like you're asking like different things. Or maybe I'm just not understanding. I've just been reading. Okay, so you did your interview 6 weeks ago, but no response. I see. I think it's still normal too. I think you have 120 days after that interview to actually then request or you can demand a decision after 120 days. So 6 weeks is still fine. Okay, thanks for clarifying that for me. Thanks, Choppa. Choppa. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. That's it. Make sure you're following me on all platforms, the Marriage Green Card Lawyer or IFE Esquire, so you can get tips on this stuff whenever we go live. That's why I'm here, just to provide that general support. This is not a consultation. You already know that. This is just to give you some clarity and help you feel a little bit confident. Like Choppa's question right now is really just about patience. You haven't really gone to a point where you need to worry since you already got through the interview. All right. So let's see what else. I may have missed some questions at the top, but please keep on asking. If I missed it, that's just because there's so many questions coming in, and I'm reading them as much as I can. All right. I haven't seen any from Facebook or YouTube, but I see you all here watching. Thank you for watching. Somehow it doesn't really show me the viewers' names on Facebook and stuff, but it shows me on the other platform. So, but I appreciate you all for being here. And yeah, Anamdi, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. And congrats on that. My I-485 has been approved. Yes, that's actually, that's something that we're waiting for, that notice on your behalf. That I told you that was the next thing, and you weren't even going to get an interview. So congrats. Yeah. So more questions here. And if you're just joining the live, you didn't start from the beginning. Today's topic was really about getting your green card if you entered without a visa. So you can check that out. I just talked about some tips on what to look out for, how you can actually waive that. Right now, we're just answering the questions here that I see. I see one just pop up from YouTube. I'm going to answer that in a little bit, but yeah, that's what we're kind of doing here. And I'm more than happy. I think we have a few more minutes, but I'm more than happy to talk to you all one-on-one outside of the live. So my number is on the screen for you to give me a call or a text, and I can help you with some resources. We also have the interview preparation guide. That's one of the topics we discussed briefly, just to prepare for that, for your marriage-based interviews. So what is inside the US, outside the US is the same thing. So take advantage of all the free resources we have. Just give us a call or check out my website, marriagegreencard.us. That has a lot of information as well. All right. So vibe trading on TikTok. Let's start with you. Let's see. You said you petitioned for your brother. Okay. This is my mouse. Okay. Says I petitioned for my brother. My brother's I-130 10 years ago. USIS approves it. Okay, congrats. They moved it to NVC. It's been 10 years. What can I do about it? Vibe trading. This is a F4 category you're asking me about. Like I said, in immigration, there's a lot of numbers, but F4 simply means brother and sister of a U.S. citizen. So this category right now is one of the slowest categories simply because the relationship between you and your sibling is not one that just needs any urgency, essentially. It is even more backlogged than the parent filing for adult child category, I believe. So, with that being said, 10 years is an expected wait time for such a case until a visa comes current. I'm not sure when your what's that number called? When your I don't know why I'm just blanking out right now. But you do have this number, priority date. That's right. I'm not sure your priority date for this application, but when your priority date is reaching, you will get a notice from NVC to come for an interview, for your brother to apply for the forms and then come for the interview and all of that. So it's just a waiting game. 2014. Okay. I don't have the visa bulletin right in front of me, but if you can check out the visa bulletin, that's how you know when it's becoming current or when your brother is now actually eligible to get a green card. Because the I-130 is the petition. That's the first stage in this process. If you're already in the USA, you're lucky enough to do everything as a one-shot process. But if you are outside the USA, you basically have to do it as a two-step process, which is what your brother is doing right now. Okay, so I hope that clears up. But yes, a YouTube guy, Michael Brewer, thank you for your patience and for being here. I definitely want to answer your question ASAP. So let's get into that one. Give me a thumbs up vibe if that answers your question, at least gives you some clarity. Michael Brewer says CR1 visa is obtained in home country or also obtained in AOS and US. So I think Michael's kind of asking the difference between a CR1 and an adjustment of status, which I was kind of leaning towards here, vibe, is that the consular process, which is a CR1 visa, is a two-step process. You have to do the petition first and then go back to the home country to do the second part, right? That's essentially what the CR1 visa is. Conditional relative one, that's for the spousal, right? So if you're a spouse of a U.S. citizen or a parent of a U.S. citizen or a child under 21 of a U.S. citizen, you're most likely going to be in the CR1 visa category because you're an immediate relative, okay? So IR1 rather. C, I think, is for those who've been married for less than 2 years. All these letters and numbers, but yes. Anyways, if you're in the USA though, you're married to a U.S. citizen, same scenario, you're the parent or child of a U.S. citizen, and you fit the immediate relative category, you will be adjusting your status because you don't need a visa to come in. Vibe's brother is not an immediate relative, so he needs a visa to come in. He can't ever do an adjustment of status. It's just not available in those categories. Okay? Oh, thank you. I'm hearing some sounds on TikTok for roses and stuff. So that means you all are getting some value from this. I appreciate it. Thank you. So, Michael Brewer, yes, CR1 visa obtained in home country. Adjustment status is done in the USA. All right. Thank you very much. Official Bravo Mask, thank you for being here again. You're always here. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Nice hairstyle. Make sure I'm not sure if you're already in the process. I think you are in the process. Where are you at right now, Bravo Mask? I'm going to keep on answering the questions on TikTok. I'm not sure why I did not bring my water here with me, but I think we have just a few more minutes. Wait, I have a call soon, right? Okay. I think it's at 1. Just don't want to get carried away because sometimes I just be on these lives just to with you guys. So, okay. All right. Let's see. More questions here on TikTok. Thank you for those of you on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for your questions. TikTok guys, I always be seeing you all to it because the questions just keep coming in like water. So try to get as many as I can. So this one says, from Mike, says, I'm UK born and I married an American. What's the process for me to get my green card? So Mike's, if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you're currently in the USA, the process for you to get your green card will be the one-step process where you file the petition, your U.S. citizen spouse rather files a petition to say that this marriage is legitimate. It's not just for a green card. This is our relationship and all of that. And then you also apply for the I-485, the green card that says I'm admissible. I've taken all my vaccines. I haven't committed any crimes. They take your fingerprints. They do all of that. You put all those applications together. You file it with the government, which is the USCIS, and they say, okay. Well, they call you for an interview, or they say no. It's discretionary. They can decide whatever they want to say. Usually, they say okay when you meet all the criterias. Right? There's really no reason for them to deny you because they want families to be together. They want people to build families here. That's the point of it. Okay, Mike's. Hope that answers you. Mario, thanks for the follow. BCT, greetings to you too. All right, so I'm going to keep on with questions. You're very welcome. Leah Swain says, I am on OPT and I'm planning to get married this fall. What should be my next steps? You're on OPT, I plan to get married this fall. Your next steps will be similar to what I just said to Mike's. If you're in the USA, you're going to be doing an adjustment of status. Same thing. You need to make sure you're putting together your proof of bona fide relationship, right? Because it's all about, is this relationship real or not? How long have you been dating? Do you have pictures together? Were you all traveling, doing things? Like, how can you show the USCIS, the government, that this is a real relationship? That's your burden. That's the main thing you have to do here. Right? All right. Claudia 270 says, to fill the I-485 Part 8 Criminals Act is only in the USA or in your country too. I was victim in my country. Claudia, I'm not really sure what part you're talking about here, but please reach out to my office. Let's look at your forms and help you. I'll figure that out because it sounds like you actually need some legal advice here if you were a victim of something. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But thank you very much for your question and being here on this live. Silva, how you doing? It's been a while. Thank you for being here. AK Who, thank you for being here as well. Y'all's names are always making me giggle because some of them are questions or just random nicknames and comments, like Chop Choppa. I like that one. Vibe Trading. Very cool. All right, so I'm scrolling through, see all the other ones I may have missed during this live, but I think so far we have answered so many questions already and gone through a very important topic, which I think many of you all who are following me would really like to hear because it relates to getting a green card through marriage. And you all know I'm the marriage green card lawyer, okay? So if you need those waivers, you're going to be able to learn what to do to get them. If you contact me, I can also guide you through that. This live, I think I've answered all the questions. I'm just scrolling through, seeing the same things. But yeah, but this live is really just to kind of open your eyes to what is available, so you don't turn away just because you think, well, I've committed a crime or I entered without a visa. There's some people who just hide in the system. They just feel like I just don't want to deal with it because there's no way out. Because I entered without a visa when I was 14 or whatever, my parents, and they never got eligible for DACA. Even though you weren't eligible for your DACA, you could still be eligible for I-601A. You could still be able to waive that entry or that unlawful presence, rather. That's what you're waiving. The consequences of the unlawful presence, that's what you're waiving. All right. You may still be able to do that and still get your green card. So keep that in mind. All right. Well, I'll see if there's any more that I missed. And if not, I think we'll be rounding up so I can go drink some water because I didn't, for whatever reason, to bring my water here and get ready for my next consultation. I had two already this morning, and I think after that I have some more meetings. So just talking all day. That's what it is to be a lawyer. You're just talking and writing and emailing and threatening a little bit. So let's see. Random Gems says, if I need a waiver, do I need to get out of the country to adjust my status? Random Gems, no, definitely. Well, it depends on what kind of waiver you need. Did you enter without a visa? You might need to go out of the country to get your visa. It's not an adjustment once you go out, right? But don't go out of the country until that waiver is approved. I think I just said that. Don't go out of the country until that visa is approved. And it's not an adjustment once you leave. It is a consular process. It is a spousal visa at that point. So with a tourist visa, you can adjust your status here. You don't need to leave. Adjusting status means changing from one status to another. Right? Those without a status can't adjust because there's nothing they're adjusting from this to this. It's not I'm adjusting from being a student visa to a permanent resident. I'm just no status because I'm not in the system, and now I'm married to a U.S. citizen. Those are the people we're focusing on today. But for someone like you, Random Gems, who entered on a tourist visa, which is 90% of my clients, they entered on a tourist visa. Maybe they overstayed. They now have unlawful presence, but they can still adjust because they once had a status. That makes sense? So you don't need to go back to any country to adjust. Just stay here and do everything. You're already here. You're already overstayed, all right? Well, except this is the one if it's the one for a category that is not marriage, you may still need to go back because those ones you need it's like the waivers are, it's going to be a whole different type of waiver because yeah, I remember that's why I'm adding this because it's not a spousal, but for those who are with spousal, they can stay. For you, it might actually be a little bit different since it's your father and you're 22 now, or actually you're 27. So yeah, it's getting more and more complicated. If you're a minor, different scenario. You feel me? So all the scenarios change depending on the category, age, the relationship, immediate relative, or adult child of a U.S. citizen, or things like that. All right. Giggles said, "Oh, this is in response to someone's question. Let me see. It's been a month since you filed. Okay, what'd you file? Your green card? You got a P3 visa from India. Can I get a photocopy of my visa from somewhere?" Okay. I'm not sure how to answer that one, but if you have a P3 visa and you enter the USA, that's still a status. You need one status to adjust to another. I'm not sure if there's any restrictions on P3 per se, but I don't know what's going on with that one in terms of adjusting, but yeah. Okay. Vibes. Thanks for the roses. You said I checked the bulletin. I cannot understand it. Yeah, that's one of the most complicated things out there. So let's definitely get on a call to go through it together. All right. Because myself, I'm always cracking my brain. Like, which one do you guys really mean here? Because there are different categories, different timelines, two tables. So which one are we going by? That's always the question. So let's read it together when you give us a call and we can talk about it. All right. My consultations are 199 generally, but we're running a special right now and that's 50% off consultations. So you can take advantage of that. It really ends today, but since it is Tuesday, I'll potentially just extend it to the end of the week just to be, just to make it all nice and tidy. So let me know if you want to go over that because I believe you're asking about your brother, your F4 category. I just had a consult about that. Um, it is something that is just it's just one of those things, right? Marriage is usually the quickest way if you're looking for immediate relief on anything, but other relatives is just a long thing. All right. Myra, didn't we talk about this last time, or was it somebody else? Because you all know the form fees increased April 1st, so it's been 30 full days now of USCIS fees that are just out there. So if you filed, and I have so many, like this is in fact, I still have some on my desk I have not even opened, but thankfully clients already received their case numbers because we also do the e-notification. I have received up to 60 receipt notices and stuff, and one duplicate work permit. I'm like, how about you send the other clients? But they sent one client two work permits, so his God is really working. So all these receipt notices, I have to open them and go through it. But if you send in your stuff by April 1st or before April 1st and it got rejected, Mara, that means they're saying it wasn't properly filed. So if you're going to send it back out today, you're going to have to send it back out with the new fee. They're not going to backdate it uh, to March 8th because it wasn't accepted. So that's kind of how that will go. Does that make sense? I think you asked me this before. Was it someone else? Reminds me. I know it sucks, but it is. That's just what a rejection means. So rejection, guys, is different from a denial. Rejection just means something was missing or whatever. They just didn't accept it. So because you don't have a case number, you don't have a case yet. So for them to process it now and get you a case, you will need to to pay the new fees. Yeah. So I do have some. I believe there's still some behind somewhere that I need to check on. But yeah, that's. I'm thankful that we were able to. Yeah. So generally, that's how you will do it. You'll send it with the I-485 receipt notice. But in the new era, they're billing for each and every form individually, right? It's not before, basically you don't have to pay for I-765 essentially. That's how it is. So that's why you will just put it with your stuff. But right now it's going to be billed separately. I mean, you can follow what Emma says and see if they send it back again for no fees. What they sent it back for before? Was it fees or something else? So I mean, that's kind of what it just means right now. The I-13 or every form is basically billed separately now. Or wrong category. I see. Yeah. So I don't know. I really believe it's going to be that you're going to have to. I don't know what the I-765 is by itself, but I know that. I know that the whole thing, if you're doing all three together, is now 3,005. Before it used to be 1,760. Okay. So Myra, I think it was you that we talked to before. I don't know. I don't. They don't give you a receipt number until they actually process it. So the processing is when you actually get your receipts notice and stuff. Okay. But yeah, I think we're about done, guys. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. Get ready for my next consultation. And I hope that we can join up together. Going to meet up again on Thursday. If you have more questions, you can send me a DM or just give us a call or text. I like text better, but you can still give us a call, Sha. And you can get in touch with one of our intake specialists who will let you know if we're a great fit, if you can book a call with us or whatever you need. And then we're good to go. All right, which states are you, lawyer? I am in North Carolina. Help clients all over the USA. All right, so no limits, no boundaries. Okay. Casey says I-130 has been saying actively reviewing for almost a year now. Is that normal? Yes, Casey, it is normal because it takes about a year for these things to process. If the processing time is passed, then you have other remedies to expedite or figure out what's going on. But yeah, it's just normal because it's just processing. They don't need anything from you yet. If they did, they'll let you know. Okay. All right, Mr. Colorado, thank you for being here. EFA, after your biometrics, what's next is your work permit. You're going to get that in the mail, potentially. And after that, if you submitted your medicals and they don't need anything from you, maybe they're waiving your interview, you get your green card. But if they're not waiving your interview, you're going to get your interview notice. If you didn't send in your medicals, you're going to get an RFE for your medicals and any other thing they need. Other than that, after biometrics, it's just a waiting game. Immigration is a lot of waiting, and patience is really key. So please, just be patient if you're in this process. Focus on the things that matter most. I'm going to end on that note to remind you all what is really important. Green card is great, work permit is great, but that's not what life is about. That's not what we're born for. That's not what we're here for. So make sure you're focusing on those things that are important to you, your family. Be thankful for the things that you do have. If you get your work permit or your travel permit, just focus on that and be thankful for that. Every other thing will be added onto you when you put your mind in the right place, right? So go forth, enjoy life. And Jay Hunter, just send me a DM and I'll send you my email, or you can just click the link in my bio. I think there might be an email there too. But we can definitely connect and do that for sure. Thank you for being here, for watching, and I'll end right now and see you on Thursday. Bye.